And what's the motherfucking deal, YouTube? I know it's early in the morning. Y'all normally don't see me do this early in the morning, but man, like I say to all my special guests, man, I like to adjust the time. It's a different time zone, so I do like to adjust to them and stuff like that. I know it's 10 in the morning and it's 11 in the morning on my man's side, so I'll say, man, make sure y'all hit that comment, that like, and that subscribe button for your boy Coach Donte. Shout out to the Spotlight Sport Network, man. The fam. Shout out to everybody that's gonna be a part of the stream and that's gonna support the channel today, man. Right now, man, got a special guest with me, man. Early this morning, man. He knows football, basketball. He covers everything, NFL, NBA, around the league. He covers it all, man. Want y'all to give it up, man, for my boy JB and M Sports Fanatic, man. Welcome to the channel, man.
Thank you for having me, Coach Dante. It's a pleasure being here.
So tell the people where they can follow you at, my boy.
Yeah, so definitely you guys can follow me on Twitter. That'll be at JoshBro34. And same for Instagram as well at Josh Bro34, Instagram, Twitter. And so you can find me there and really appreciate the opportunity to be here, Coach Dante. I see you all the time, all these streams and stuff, my man. I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
live streaming. If you ain't gaming, you're giving us a breakdown, Houston
Yeah.
Texans, all that stuff. So I see you.
Man, hey man, I definitely enjoy watching your videos, man. It's not too many people out here that break covers everything, NBA, football, man, versatile. It's like being a versatile player, man. It's not too many people that loves to cover everything, and I love the work that you do, man. Like I say, we don't keep up that hard work, and you don't be at 1K at no time. So like I
Right.
say, I know you are a Patriots fan, but like I say again, you cover everything, so you know everything NFL basketball. So we gonna start. I'll say on the Patriots, man. So I know it's a weird year not seeing Bill Belichick in the playoffs. It's kind of strange not seeing them guys in the playoffs. So, the struggles with Cam Newton last year, the close games that you guys lost last year. Again, was it just a Tom Brady thing? Bill Belichick wanted to do it without Tom Brady, or Tom Brady wanted to do it without Bill Belichick. What factored in the disappointing season last year?
Yeah, so I'll touch on the Tom Brady versus Bill Belichick thing
Okay,
first.
go ahead.
I feel like when it came to towards the end of Tom Brady's thing, it's just a matter of fact that it's like being in a relationship for a while. Sometimes you get to the
Yeah.
point where it's like, you know what, we've done a lot of magical things, but I want to experience some other things in life. I want to accomplish some other goals now, and you
hmm
just grow apart. Tom
Yeah.
Brady, he knew the system, and Bill Belichick, didn't have to coach him up anymore because Tom, he knows the system. He learned it
hmm
from Bill all them years. So he's like, let me go so I can do it somewhere else. And as for Bill, he's like, look, I built you. I can build someone else. And so, but I think a lot of that also came down to the roster. I mean, if you're
hmm
Tom Brady, you're getting older. So you're going to need a little bit more help around you than what he had in New England. I mean, Julian Edelman always hurt. Aside from him, who else was he really going to throw to? N'Keal Harry? I mean, I don't think that's going to really work out too well.
Yeah.
So there was nobody there. And then Matt Lacrosse at tight end, Benjamin Watson his last year there was nobody there for him on offense. So he had to go somewhere else. Otherwise, it was going to keep being on him.
Yeah, I
So,
definitely agree with you on that part, man. Because the state of the fact is that you guys could still have made the playoffs if it was some of these close losses last year. I mean, I'm not sure. I knew y'all lost a close game to Buffalo. Y'all lost a close
yeah,
game to my Houston Texans. I know that. Y'all lost a
yeah.
close game, very close game. So what was the turning? What was the turning point of those games? Is who do you blame that? Who do you blame the season on last year? Who was the
Uh,
downfall for the season that
I
you
would
thought?
love to be able to point one person and put them on a cross or something and say it was that person. But honestly, it was a team effort because, like, we had
hmm
so many guys opt out before the season even started. It's like they said, okay, Tom Brady's not here. Let us opt out, because it's going to be basically a wash of a year. And so after
hmm
everybody opt out, Cam, he came in late. So he had to learn the playbook, came in super late, and he came off. He did good. Like I
hmm
remember he played Seattle and he
Yeah,
took it
yeah,
down
that
to the
was yeah,
wire took
yeah.
it down to the wire. And then he caught COVID. We ended up losing the game to the Kansas City Chiefs. One that I really was surprised that Brian Hoyer, your boy Brian Hoyer, was able to keep us.
Oh.
Kept it close but couldn't deliver. So in spite of Brian Hoyer, we were still able to keep that one competitive, and so that's probably one that maybe we could win if Cam was still playing like he was before COVID. And then after that, when he came back against, well, I think we played the Broncos before he came back, and that the offense just clearly didn't look the same. So after Cam caught COVID, it was a wrap. And so other
Yeah.
than that, I blame the whole wide receivers position group in general. Like they gave
Hmm.
no separation, no separation. That's why Cam got to run so much because
Yeah.
he gets nothing from that group.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That was kind of like Tom Brady last year. I remember it being like that. And we played y'all. I believe it was on a Sunday night football game. We still had Deshaun Watson, and by the way, y'all did almost come back. If y'all would probably covered that onside kick, that would have been really interesting right there. But I
right.
heard some Doug Collinsworth, somebody something say it's a problem with the receiving core. Tom Brady didn't like because they couldn't get open like they killed Harry. And who else y'all had on that? Myers, I believe it was Myers.
Myers
Though,
is my favorite Patriots
yeah,
receiver right now.
yeah, and I
That's all
saw
we
all
got.
I could see is like Tom Brady yelling at the receiving core and stuff like that. Julian Edelman, that nobody can actually get open. So I'll say that seemed like a big problem with the wide receivers and stuff. I never saw Tom Brady that upset before at that receiving core that he did that year. That was the year that y'all lost to the Tennessee Titans, I believe.
Oh, that
In
was
a, in a,
painful.
oh, in a horrific
uh,
fashion. Hey man, like I said, I'm sorry to put it in, man, but like I say, man, I just want to get your thoughts on that game. Like, what was going on with in that game? I want to get your thoughts on that game. I believe that
all
was the
right.
last game that Tom Brady played for New England,
That
right?
was it was the
Okay,
last
okay.
game, and it was just something about that game that felt like it was going to be the last time out
Mm-hmm,
there. Because I mean, what happened was for so long in Tom Brady's career, you look at earlier in his career. Think before Randy Moss joined the Patriots, when they had basically Rashay Cardwell, and I mean Rashay Cardwell. To this day, I'm still mad at him. He dropped that wide open pass against the Colts, cost us that championship,
mm-hmm.
AFC championship game, but I'll let that one go. But we had guys like him. We drafted Chad Jackson in the second round. That didn't pan out. So that
Mm-hmm.
year, despite Tom Brady having probably similar weapons to what he had this last year, he was still younger, so he can make up for that. But as you
Mm-hmm.
get older now, you sort of need to have your team around you to help you out. And so, but Bill Belichick had gotten so used to Tom Brady being able to make something out of nothing that he just gave him nothing to work with and expected him to make something. And so it started making Tom look bad. And Tom's like, look,
Mm-hmm.
I still got it. All right. So I got to go somewhere else where I can shine. So, but that game right there was very evident to me. Like, look, the magic was about to run out. Tom knew it. He wasn't about to come back and just suffer just because. So, and we
Yeah.
didn't have the money to bring people in afterwards as well. So,
I mean, yeah, man. So how do you feel about the off-season moves that they made, that the Patriots
uh,
organization made?
I love it. I love it, man. You see the smile, man. It's genuine, man. I love it, man. I'm gonna start with the tight end position. I mean, because I mean, the last 2 years was just horrendous. It got so bad, bro. Like I couldn't even play with the Patriots online no more, bro.
Oh, come
I had to
on.
play with another team, bro. I said I had to skip Madden 21. I was like, look, I'm not gonna play until we can at least look decent online because we had nobody at tight end, and I never realized the importance of having a tight end because I played with Gronk for so many years. You get used to that,
Mhm.
but then he left. Then the old version of Benjamin Watson that wasn't working no more. So, but Matt Lacrosse, those guys, nah. So I love the tight end additions. The fact that we got our opt outs, most of them back in. I know Patrick Chung, he retired and stuff, so that
Mhm.
was a little sad there. But I mean, I like what we have right now. If we can keep everybody healthy, especially in the secondary with Stephon Gilmore, I need him on
Mhm.
board. So if Gilmore sees this, I need you, man. We need you back out here. So I love the running
Yeah.
back room that we
Yeah.
got, though. That's going to be
Okay.
key for us.
Yeah, I love the tight end group. I mean, if Hunter Henry stays healthy, I believe he can be a productive tight end. John Smith, I know him because he played with the Tennessee Titans. You can also do a couple of reverses with him. He's very fast as a tight end,
Right.
very strong, very big. Can get open. And like I say, man, like I say, I still believe Cam have a lot left in him, man, with the right pieces around him. N'Keal Harry, let's touch on his situation. Has it calmed down? Do he still wants out? Give me a little info on this situation right now.
Yeah, so for N'Keal Harry, he wants the ball. So he realizes that right now he's being buried on a depth chart. So he wants to go somewhere where he can get an opportunity. I personally feel that there's probably two places that'll be ideal for him. I think the Chicago Bears make a lot of sense because we
Okay.
know, with Allen Robinson, this will probably be his last year in Chicago. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
this,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
he's going to be gone after this year. And so I think that N'Keal Harry can strive in that type of system, honestly, especially if he can learn from someone like Allen Robinson for a year. He might can get a like 55 receptions, 700 something yards, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Outside of that, hey, I even think the Houston Texans might end up being a good spot for him, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's not going to happen in New England, though. It's just
Yeah,
not going to
yeah.
happen.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, man, we do kind of need. We could use N'Keal Harry as a good as a pretty much a receiving threat, man. Like I say, I think we got final cuts coming down Tuesday, but like I
Right,
say, we kind of iffy at the iffy at the receiving position. You got Brandon Cooks out there, but like I say, at the end of the day, you don't value him as something as a number one wide out, but he is 1,000 yard receiver, so I do got to give him credit for that. He can get wide. He can get gain separation. Uh, Nico Collins, he's a prospect, right? At this point, you don't
right,
know. You really don't know Chris Conley. He's been around. You don't know. You really don't got. You really don't got no touch on nobody. No info on nobody but Brandon Cook. So I think we can use a wideout, a second wideout. But like I say, man, I can't wait till the season start. I can't wait till the season start to see how this team is. So I'll say again, give me your what do you think about this team going into this year? Do you think you guys have a chance to compete for the division in the playoffs with Buffalo? Do you think you guys got a shot?
I've got two answers for you. The fan in me says, heck yeah, we can take the division. But sitting back from a realistic standpoint, though, I think that we can definitely make the playoffs. I think it's still
Okay.
Buffalo's division this year. They just have a higher ceiling, honestly, and that comes with Josh Allen right now. The whole situation with, Cam, first of all, he's going to take a lot of hits throughout the season. So how
Mm-hmm.
long is he going to be able to go out there and be consistent? That's going to be the thing. And we brought in some receivers, but we still don't have a tier one wide receiver.
Yeah.
So I still got to give Buffalo the nod, but I think the Patriots will be second. I think Tua's going to mess up some things in Miami, or at least that's the
Okay.
hope.
Okay. I got Miami in a wild card spot, man. I love them, dude. There's something about this team, but they also can be pretty tricky and fall off too. But
Yeah.
everything seems to blow up on a Deshaun Watson this scenario too, though. So like, I think I heard the trade talks heating up a little bit between the Dolphins and the Texans, but like it's kind of tricky. I don't know. It's been tossed with him and the Eagles, and the Dolphins. I don't know what's going on with that. So give me some insight on that as well. And what do you think the best place for Watson to go to? What do you
All
think the
right.
best place fit for
I got you. I got you. Well, first of all, let me start with the best place. I'm gonna go ahead and say right now, as a Patriots fan, I say the best place is out of the AFC East. Don't come to the AFC East. But aside from that, though, but
him?
nah, I think realistically, though, it really comes down to really two teams right now. If it's gonna happen this season, I think
Hmm.
the Miami Dolphins. I did a video on that. Miami Dolphins are the front runner. They seem to be the most interested right now in Deshaun Watson, despite of the whole everything that's going on off the field and stuff. They're the most interested in trying to get this done. Now, when it came down to what Houston's asking for, I believe it was like 3 first-round picks along with some like two extra it was like a total like 5 picks and like a star player. Yeah, Miami barked at that and it's like, no, that's not going down like that. So
Hmm.
there's still ways away, but I think Miami's currently going to be the front runner. And if it's going to happen this year, it's going to be Miami or it's going to be the Eagles. It's going to be one of those two teams. With the Eagles, they really
Hmm.
don't seem too comfortable with Jalen Hurts right now. Like they
Yeah.
seem nervous right now with Jalen Hurts.
And
So
that's one thing about it, man. Like I said, I'm on board and saying I would not. I would. Yeah, I'm giving Jalen Hurts a chance. Right now and stuff like that to see what he's got. Like I say he can either have a great year or he can either have an average year and fail, and that's gonna kind of turn some little heads about the Eagles quarterback and franchise if he doesn't have a great season at all. They can change easy change the mindset. But like I say, do you think a player like Deshaun Watson, if you're the Houston Texans, if you're the GM of the Houston Texans, would you keep that trade package on? Would you keep it on, or would you lower it down to get him a disgruntled Watson out of Houston if you was the GM?
That's That's a very good question. If I'm the GM, I would have already made that trade prior to the draft. That would have been my
Mm-hmm.
best window to try to force something for the upcoming season and stuff like that. I think it would have made a lot of sense then. But at this point of the season, it really depends on what my best offer is. Because I mean, you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
just give him away. So I'm not just going to give him away because I know what he means, especially if I have more details than everybody else about the case, and I think that it's something that's just going to blow away at some point, then I'm definitely going to hold on to him for them. But if I think that this might blow up in the worst scenario, yeah, we're about to make that trade right now. Call Miami and see the best we can get for him. So that's what it comes down to.
So let's go around the NFL. How many teams do you see beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in
Ooh.
the NFC and the AFC? We're gonna put NFC and AFC together. How many teams out of that span, NFC and AFC, that you feel like that has a shot against the Buccaneers?
All right, so if we put it like just have a shot, I would say out of their schedule, without having their schedule pulled up, I would have to say there's at least I did a prediction video on them and I had them going 13-4. So I think that there's four teams that have a chance at beating Tampa this upcoming season. My reason for that is should they be favored in all of those games? Heck yeah,
Yeah,
they should
yeah,
be
hell yeah,
favorites. But we know how the NFL works. Sometimes there are
yeah.
upsets. I remember last year, I think it was one of my first couple videos. I recorded, I said, there's no way in hell that the Jets are going to beat the Rams last year. And what happened?
And they went in
They
LA and
went
beat them.
down there and beat them in LA.
They posted one the
So,
last week, actually. They
yeah,
posted one the following week, actually, if it wasn't for the defensive coordinator
exactly.
with that one-on-one coverage against Henry Ruggs
I was
blitz.
so
Yeah.
confused. I was like, did they decide they don't want Trevor Lawrence anymore? Like, what's going on? So, yeah, upsets happen. But I do know off the top of my head that I did pick the Rams to have a chance against Tampa Bay. And anytime you have that front four like that, that's going to give you a chance to compete against a team like Brady, because in order to get Brady uncomfortable, you got to be able to get that pass rush. You look back to the
Yeah,
games against the Bears last year, against the Giants, against the Saints. They were all able to generate that pass rush. And that's something the Rams, they're definitely capable of doing it. And with
yeah.
an improved quarterback, too, count them in. Now, it did hurt that they lost Cam Akers, but they picked up Sony
Yeah.
Michelle. So I'll
That's
still
pretty
say the
good. I
Rams.
like that.
So,
I like that Sonny Michelle pickup.
yeah, it
And
was the
like I
move.
say, I agree with you on the Rams. Then they got the one of the top corner in the NFL, Aaron
Yeah.
Donald. That defensive line is very, very good. The only question mark you will like have about this defense is the linebackers. You don't know too much about them, but all around across the board, I mean, the Rams look like they definitely can compete with the New England Patriots. And I want to say in the AFC, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. They can
Yes.
compete with anybody. And I'm going to throw in the Tennessee Titans as well with that running game. If you got King Henry, who's up here,
Oh,
you
yeah.
got King Henry who's up here, and every running back is down here below him. Then you got Julio Jones and AJ Brown, who's a
Hmm.
phenomenal, no doubt, a top 10 receiver. In my book, man, I believe Tennessee have a shot. Them two
Oh,
teams
yeah.
has a shot, and I would throw the Bills kind of in that trenches as well, right there. So
Right.
you got at least five legit teams that can kind of compete with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't know if they will beat them, but I'll say
Right.
again, these are teams that can compete with them. Do you throw the Seahawks in that situation as well? Do you throw the Seahawks in that situation?
I personally, anytime you got a guy like Russ that can, match, Brady, I feel like just any given day, if it's in Seattle, especially, that crowd, that 12th man gets involved and stuff. And stuff,
Yeah.
yeah, we'll throw them in there as well. Let's throw them in
Yeah.
there as well. But I do have one more team, though. I think the
Okay,
Washington
go ahead.
football team,
Oh,
like with
ooh,
that defensive line they got, you can generate so much pressure off that front four alone. That allows you to do so many things. And it doesn't hurt to have a quarterback who's basically shown that he can beat Brady in the regular season when he was in Miami, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
yeah.
So that's
I
an
mean,
interesting one.
see, I mean, Washington is like one quarterback away. Just imagine if they pull something and get Deshaun Watson. Just imagine how
Man.
with Terry McLaurin right there, Gibson. Then you already got that defensive line coming at you, getting pressure every single play to where the secondary really don't have to guard too much long because
Yeah.
Chase Young and Deron Payne them always getting to the quarterback, man. That defensive front is scary. So how about the NFC East? The NFC East. Who do you got as the favorite of that division right now?
Yeah, so the NFC East, or some people say the NFC least. I personally have it down to the Cowboys and Washington football team. I personally like a lot about this Washington football team, just their structure. And when I look at the division, I think that regular season, if I'm playing them, I got to worry about the Cowboys offense that jumps out to me.
Yeah.
But in the playoffs, Washington football team and how they're constructed, they probably have the best chance to match up versus a Green Bay, versus a
Mm-hmm.
Tampa, as we say. I mean, if we're thinking Washington football team versus Tampa, I like that matchup versus rather than the Cowboys versus Tampa, just because of the difference in the defense. So I'd
Mm-hmm.
go Washington football team right now.
Okay, man. Shout out to my boy Billy Buckets, who's in the chat right now. Talking to my boy, Jay. B and M Sports Fanatic, man. He covers everything around the league. Y'all go check this man out, man. This man is the GOAT, the real deal, man. Honor to have him on today, this morning, man. We will have many more collabs, man, especially during the season. He just don't cover the football he just don't cover football. He cover everything, basketball as well. He covers it all, man. He's on everything, man. He puts up live streams. A pretty goddamn good man player as well. He know how to make coaching adjustments and all that, man. It was fun to see that man play that damn bad. That was fun. Besides, one game he had to warm up the bus, but we'll take every other
I was hoping you didn't bring that up, man. Hey, we won everything else.
Yeah, we won everything else but that game, though, man. So, how about the NFC West? NFC West. That's the toughest division in football. I'm not gonna be honest with you. We all can agree on that. I mean, everybody say the AFC West, but the NFC West literally got four potential playoff teams in this division. Everybody got the Arizona Cardinals out right now as the weakest of that division right now, but they're still a playoff. They still can be a potential playoff team if everything breaks right. Anybody can beat anybody any given day in that division. That division is going to be so competitive. I mean, you added AJ Green, used to be number one wideout when he's healthy from Cincinnati, goes to the Arizona Cardinals. You got Chandler Jones, who wants out of Arizona. You got Russell Wilson. Of course, he gives you a chance. He just like Deshaun Watson, gives you a chance every football game.
Yeah.
Every football game you're not out, any football game you're going to, you have a shot, you have a feeling that you can win because you got Russell Wilson on your squad. And you also got the freak of nature, DK Metcalf, the track runner, the 100-meter dash track runner right there. You also got San Francisco. When they're healthy, their defense is good. Jimmy Garoppolo is the game manager, but this is his last year. No doubt his last year. He's out. Trey Lance is going to be in next. Probably depends on how the season goes. Trey Lance may play, he may not. Then you got the Rams, who's the front runners to lead this division. So how do you value this division? Who you got it down to in this division? And how many teams you
Yeah.
see making the playoffs in this division actually?
This division right here, I've given so much thought to, and I've definitely seen my picks change throughout the offseason as well. Because as you mentioned, this is definitely the toughest division in football, and
Yeah,
I can make a case for every team there. I know a lot of people aren't too high on the Cardinals.
yeah.
I think that my man Kyler Murray is due for an MVP caliber season. I think he's next in line to take that big leap. You look at what Josh Allen did last year, the year before that, Lamar Jackson. I think Kyler Murray is set up to where he can be that next quarterback to take that type of leap. And if he does, look at here, this could be an 11-win type of team. But it's going to be hard. It's going to come down to who can win within the division, because those
Mm-hmm.
games are going to be some dog fights out there. Not even going to lie. I mean,
Oh,
whew.
they gonna be beating up on each other in that division, man. They gonna
Oh,
be.
yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Oh,
man.
yeah. It's going
A
to
lot
come
of.
down to who can be healthy in that
Mm-hmm.
division, honestly. And that's where I have to look at a team like, where Seattle comes into play. We know that they're consistently there. The 49ers, if they can just stay healthy, 2 years ago, they were in the Super Bowl. They have the
Yeah,
team that is built. You want to talk about a
yeah.
team that can compete with Tampa? If this team is healthy, I would
Mm-hmm.
love to see that matchup in the
Oh
playoffs if
yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
healthy. So, but man, if I had to pick a team right now, I still got to go with the Rams, though. I still
Okay,
got to. Still got to.
okay. All right, so we gonna go to the NFC, the NFC South. So that might be a one team division right there. But do you see any team? I can tell by you smiling. That might be a one team division. Like I say, so we got Carolina, who got Sam Darnold, But is it Sam Darnold? We're gonna see this year. If Sam Darnold was really held back by that coaching staff, by the New York Jets, I don't know why Adam Gates keep getting a damn job. He does not deserve another head coaching job. I don't know why is he keep getting a job. Some I don't know. Peyton Manning, I'm disappointed in him because he vouched for Adam Gates. I'm hope you
Yeah,
listening, Peyton Manning. I'm disappointed in you. So we're gonna really see the real talent of Sam Donald. No excuses out of him. I give him a pass because he was around the worst head coach in the National Football League. You got Robbie Anderson. You got one of the best running backs in football. We're gonna find
yeah,
out is it Sam Donald or not, or is he just not good at all? We're gonna definitely find that out with a new change of scenery. So we got the Atlanta Falcons. We got the Atlanta Falcons who got some talent. Calvin Ridley. They just got drafted Kyle Pitts. You still got Matt Ryan. Still got Matt Ryan over there. You also got Russell Gage, who's a very good receiver as
yeah,
well. The defense is not very good. Not very good, but we're gonna see about that. Oh, you also got the Saints, the pretty much the second best team in this division. You got Jameis Winston. We know now he's the starter. He's the starter. We know now, and you got one of the best coaches in the game, Sean Payton. You got Alvin Kamara, top 5 running back. No Michael Thomas. Pretty lost all their defense in free agency. Then you got the cream of the crop. We don't need that's all around. That's probably
right.
maybe return back as the Super Bowl champions or get to the Super Bowl. Everybody's favorite to get to the Super Bowl. So how do you value this division? What's your evaluation on this division?
Yeah, right off the bat, we'll just state the obvious. Tampa's got this division on lock, like on
Mm-hmm.
lock. They can run this out 100 times,
Yeah.
and they will probably get it 98 times. Those 2 times they don't, it had to be some severe injuries and stuff.
Yeah.
But aside from that, though, when it comes to the second team, I think it's more so a competition between Carolina, as you mentioned, Sam Darnold. He's going to be in a way better situation. Let me tell you how
Yeah.
better of a situation, though. You go from handing the ball off to old man Frank Gore in the backfield as your best weapon in the backfield to actually having Christian McCaffrey. Should he be healthy?
Mm-hmm.
And if I know they got Hubbard, they drafted him to be the backup running back, so we'll see how that goes. But aside from that, I mean, throwing the guys like DJ Moore, you mentioned Robbie Anderson, that
Yeah.
reconnection there. So I think this will be a good situation for Sam Darnold to be like a top 20-ish quarterback. If he can do something like that, I think that would be good for Carolina because C-Mac will do the rest if he's healthy. So that's all he needs to do. Aside from that, you look at a team like, the Atlanta Falcons. I know, living here in Georgia, I know that the pressure was on. They wanted to take a quarterback so badly. Like if it wasn't Justin Fields, if it wasn't Justin Fields, it was the wrong answer down here. So they wanted him so bad, but they went with Kyle Pitts. And so, I mean, I understand that pick. He's such a rare talent at that tight end position, so it makes sense there. But then you traded away Julio, so that really negates that right there. So I've got Atlanta finishing towards the bottom, but I think they're going to be a lot more competitive than most of the teams that'll be finishing last. They still can compete. Matty Ice can still go out there and wing it. It's just he can't win it late in the game, but he can keep you in it and make it interesting. He can sell tickets, so I'll give him that. And then the Saints. Oh, man, the Saints made the right decision in starting Jameis Winston. My man Jameis Winston, I feel like when he came into the league, obviously airing it out, him and then the combination of Bruce Arians, we know BA wants you to throw the ball deep. That's what he wants you to do, and that's what Jameis wanted to do. But when you go deep too much, you miss the checkdowns, you turn it over, it's a high risk. And that's what hurt him ultimately. So Sean Payton had to sort of coach him up last year. So you're going to sit and learn. So we'll see what we get from there. But the Saints will be still a team that can compete for like that 7th wild card spot, I think.
Yeah. I mean, like I say again, I was on board for Taysom Hill because I think he gives defenses more of a better look, a tougher option to stop. Actually, because his movement out of the pocket and his playmaking ability, he can't throw that much consistent. But like I say again, I love these quarterbacks that can make plays and that can keep plays alive. And Taysom Hill is one of those guys. But like I say, either way, man, Jameis Winston, I'm not a too big fan of him. Even though you're throwing the ball that many times, and I understand that's a lot of passing that Bruce Arians is doing, but it's no excuses to be inconsistent and turn the football over. Turn the football over in situations you don't turn the ball over. Not looking for checkdowns, throwing Superman passes all across the
Oh, yeah.
field. Kind of no excuses. So, like I say, you have the same roster that literally Tom Brady has right now, but except two guys, and that's Grump and AB. Except two guys, actually, it's the same roster. So only thing Tom Brady did not do was hurt the team with turnovers consistently. That's one thing that Jameis Winston did do was hurt the team with turnovers. And like I say, Sean Payton, I trust Sean Payton. I love Sean Payton. I believe if anybody can fix Winston, it could, like you said, it can be Sean Payton. It can
Oh
definitely be
yeah.
Sean Payton. But like I say, do you see? So you don't see the Saints making a type of playoff push, making a playoff push. You don't see them as making a playoff push.
I see them with about 10 wins. And so if
Okay,
that's enough to get in the playoffs, then they'll be in. But I think about 9 or 10 wins is about where
okay,
they're going to be at. Because that
all
defense
right,
is still solid. Like they showed
okay.
last year, regardless of losing a quarterback, they still solid.
So how about the NFC South? Aaron Rodgers basically division. We can argue that Minnesota maybe it's between Minnesota and Chicago. The set between second place, fight
Yep.
for second place. Which is I don't believe in Andy Dalton at all. So that's why I'm gonna go with I will put Minnesota right there for with healthy bodies with 2,000 yard wide receivers, and you got Dalvin Cook. Got Dalvin Cook and you got Kirk Cousins. You got over there, you got Chicago. That's just probably got a great defense over there because that's what. Let's be honest. Chicago is that defense in Chicago was the reason why Chicago actually made the playoffs
Oh
last
yeah.
year.
Oh yeah.
That defense was actually the reason why they were in the playoffs. The offense couldn't do spit squat Gidley poo. They couldn't do anything last year. So that defense was basically the main reason why this team why they made the playoffs. And then you got who else you got in that division over there? I'll probably name every team already. So
Every
we
team that
know,
matters other than
yeah,
Detroit.
Detroit, yeah, Detroit probably be the worst team in football. Might be the worst team in might be the second to worst team in football. So like I said, I can't even touch on Detroit right now because like I say, they probably going to be the worst team in football. So how do you evaluate this division as well for the is it really Aaron Rodgers' division or do you see Minnesota or Chicago really shocking and winning this division?
It's still Aaron Rodgers' division. It's going to be Green Bay to win, but I think Green Bay might not win as many games as they did last year, but they'll still win the division though. Outside of that, like we said, Detroit's going to be last place. I've got them being worse in the league. They just let
Oof.
everybody go. Everybody go. Like there's
Yeah.
no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. They're going to be the worst team in the league this upcoming year. So Jared Goff, he couldn't do nothing with the receivers he had down there with the Rams. I mean, my goodness. Now what he's got left in Detroit, oh man, they're going to be packing up for next year. So that's what they'll be doing. And so now the meat of this division in the middle, when you're comparing Minnesota and Chicago, and after what I've seen just in the preseason, that offensive line for the Bears scared me. Like I wouldn't want to play quarterback back there. I don't care if I'm as fast as Tyreek Hill. I wouldn't want to play quarterback behind that offensive line. So that's a real concern for me. I mean, I do like the Bears defense, and how they can
Yeah.
generate turnovers. But
Yeah.
with Andy Dalton being the quarterback, that's going to hurt you. That's going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I gotta go Vikings at number two because
Mm-hmm.
I love their wide receivers. And then you mentioned Dalvin Cook. I love that. Although I do question, I feel like there's some tension growing in Minnesota because of the
Mm-hmm.
whole, like Kirk Cousins now, they're getting frustrated about those who aren't vaccinated, all that stuff. So that
Mm-hmm.
could turn into something. But right now, Minnesota number two because Chicago's offensive line is just scary right now.
Yeah, man. Hey, shout out to everybody, man, in the channel. Shout out to Beantown Breakdown. Make sure y'all sub up to give a good subscribe to my boy, man. JB and M, man. He covers everything football, basketball. We're gonna get into a little basketball as well, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to him. Man, really appreciate y'all, man. JB and M Sports Fanatic. He's a great channel. He's the GOAT. He covers everything, football and basketball. And we're gonna, man, like I said, we're gonna collab again, man. Trust me, this is not gonna be on collab during the season. Might be before the season start, man. We might get another one in, but we
Right.
definitely gonna get more collabs in during basketball season as well. Any questions you guys got for him, he can definitely answer them because he covers everything. He covers everything as well. So make sure y'all show some love to him as well. I think you did have a question. You said where's Link at? Oh, yeah, hold on. I don't think you're a mod in my chat, right? I gotta give you. I basically gotta give you a mod so you can drop your link
But
inside the chat. So hold on, I think you did have a question. Oh, here you go, right here. Here we go, right here. There go your question right there.
uh, what do I think about Devin Funches being released? Oh man, when I first saw that, I felt so bad for Devin Funches. I feel like he's been hurt like for so long. I can't remember the last time I actually seen him on the field. Do I feel that it's time for him to retire? I think that, I mean, for his personal sake, if he can continue to get jobs and opportunities and try to get that money, go for it. But given the type of injuries that he had, anytime you see a guy constantly get hurt for that long, that many times in a row, it usually is a sign that it's time to hang it up at that point, because that was a great opportunity with the Green Bay Packers, and so you're not going to find a much better opportunity than that. So it may be time to hang it up for Devin, but that was really
Yeah.
tough to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you better watch out for my boy Bird Game. My boy might try to steal you, man. He gonna try to get you over there on the channel. I know Bird Game. Hey, go ahead, and make the call, Bird Game. Go ahead, and make the call, man, because he covers every football team and every basketball team. All right, so our attentions, we're gonna switch to the AFC, AFC South. It's a toss up between my Texans and Jaguars for last place. That's a fight for the last spot of last place. It's just a battle of race. Who's gonna come in first, last place? That's all you need to know. Quick, Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence. He's gonna have some ins and outs this season. He's gonna have some good moments, some bad moments. Every rookie go through that. They got a veteran receiver in Marvin Jones over there. They got 1,000-yard running back who burst on the scene last year. The Houston Texans, questionable all over the place. Questionable at quarterback. Questionable at receiver, except one receiver. Questionable head coach because you don't. Yeah, he's never coached an NFL game as a head coach before. So defense played well in preseason. They played absolutely terrific. But I don't care. For me as a fan, Texas fan, I don't give a damn about no damn preseason. I care about what's gonna go on on the 12th on that Sunday. That's what I care about. What's gonna go on. I don't give a damn
Right.
about no preseason. That's what I care about. What's gonna go on that on the real part when we play against Jacksonville. So missed me with the defense, but they did play well. The defense did force turnovers, like Lovie Smith said. And then we got the two front runners. Carson Wentz was traded with Frank Wright, his old offensive coordinator. He's over there. They got Pascal as a receiver, T.Y. Hilton, who's a Texan killer. Every time he plays the Houston Texans, he finds the way to go crazy. Anybody else, I don't know. He doesn't show up. Anybody else, he doesn't actually show up. But Texans, he shows up. So you got a great defense. You got great running backs. Mack, Marlon Mack. You got Jonathan Taylor out of Wisconsin, who I really actually like. Naheem Hines. You got Frank Wright, who's a great coach, who's a great offensive play caller, and a great defense in Darius Leonard, led by Darius Leonard. And you got the front runners with that ridiculous goddamn offense. Ryan Tannehill's emerging. Some people got him as an MVP candidate. Then you got King Henry. You got King Henry. I don't know if too many people want to tackle him. Don't A lot of people does not like tackling him, getting in front of him. You got Julio Jones and you got AJ Brown as a stud over there. And so, who do you got as the front runners? Who do you got as the
Yeah.
front? The two out of the Colts, and the Tennessee Titans. Basically, that's what the division comes down to.
I was about to say you're not going to give me the option of Houston here.
Oh no, no. I'll say I'm a Houston fan. It's not that I don't have any faith. I just know my team. I just know the roster. And guess what? I'm not embarrassed. I'm not upset about it. I know everybody got us picked the go second to last, and I'm fine with that. But like I can accept it. At least I can accept it. A lot of fans can't accept it, but I can accept it. Like I hold all
Gotcha.
my teams. I hold all my teams to a standard. Like if they're bad, I'm gonna say, "Hey, you're fucking bad." That's just like telling the player, "Hey, if you're bad, hey, you fucking bad, bro." I'm gonna just be honest with you. So this team is like I say, they can shock people and have a pretty decent season, like a 5 or 6 win season. But other than that, it wouldn't surprise me if they're bad. If they're bad, that wouldn't surprise me, and I actually won't kind of be depressed about it.
Okay. Okay. Well, since we came into this conversation prepared,
Let's go.
I'll
Yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. Go
All
ahead,
right.
go
I'll
ahead, go
start at
ahead.
the top. At the top, I got the Tennessee Titans. Now, I
Yeah,
personally, before all of these injuries started piling on, I still was like the Colts defense. They're still good. I feel like it's going to be competitive, but with all the injuries going on, you mentioned Ty. I figured out Ty. He's hurt now. Carson
yeah,
Wentz. Who knows what he's going to look like even when he comes back. He wasn't looking that great before then with Philadelphia. So if he's not hurt physically anymore, he's mentally he may still be hurt. And
mm,
then I mean the addition of Marlon Mack, I do like that. So their backfield is going to be set. And that defense is going to be still good, but they've got a tough schedule. Colts have got a tough
yeah,
schedule. They're going to get off to a slow start, and that's
yeah.
going to hurt them. So Tennessee, we mentioned Julio Jones and company, AJ Brown, King Henry. Yes, he's going to get another 2,000 yards rushing this year. I think he's going to do it. He's just that special. I don't want to end up on the wrong side of a stiff arm from that man for sure. Like whether it's a stiff arm, he loaded his shoulder, it's not good either way. I
Yeah,
like Ryan Tannehill a lot. I feel like he's exactly what Tennessee needed. And he's another case that shows when you get away from Adam Gase, sky's the limits, what you can do in another system once you get away from Adam Gase. So obviously the questions lie on that defensive side of the ball. Last year, they removed 3 of their 4 starting defensive backs from last year. And I felt like the problem for them was they couldn't get no pass rush last year. So that's why
yeah,
the defensive backs look bad. You can only be good for so long in that backfield
yep.
before everything turns on you. So, but I still got the Titans with about maybe 12 plus wins this upcoming season.
All right.
Um, Second, I'm gonna put the Colts at second. That defense is still good. I think they're gonna get off to a slow start, but then as guys start to get more healthy, they'll start to win more. It might be a little too late though because of how competitive the AFC is gonna be this year, but
Yeah,
they'll be competitive. And so now that third spot, I feel like that third spot's gonna be up for grabs. I
yep,
do like this for the Houston Texans though. Right now, where they're at right now, I feel more confident with Tyrod Taylor and his
yeah,
veteran experience than I
yep,
do with Trevor Lawrence because they're basically giving him the job. Because I mean, from what I've seen so far in a small sample size, it's going to be a struggle down there in Jacksonville.
yeah.
And me being an Ohio State Buckeye fan, I've seen Urban Meyer on that sideline. I know when he's over there looking like, once you see he starts faking that migraine, it's over. It's a wrap. The season's done. It's a wrap. And I guarantee by week 3, you're gonna see it. Like the memes are gonna be out there for him. So and then losing Travis Etienne, that's big because I know they had
Yeah.
big plans for him. That's why they took him in the first round. They wanted to use him kind of like he used Percy Harvin back at the University of Florida. So
Mm-hmm.
everything's falling apart with injuries with this team. So it could be
Yep.
bad, like really bad. They might be
Yep.
up for a top 3 pick next year again. So
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
it
All
could
right.
happen. It could. And then let's talk about Houston. And so I do like the abundance of running backs you guys did pick up.
Yep.
Tyrod Taylor, one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the league. The funny fact about Tyrod Taylor is that every time he's the starting quarterback and there's a rookie behind him, he tends to get hurt some way, somehow, whether it's on the field, whether it's a doctor or whatever, and the backup comes in and shines. So maybe that might be good news for Davis Mills somewhere down
Yeah.
the line. But
Yeah.
everybody else's first round picks, though, so we'll see how that works out. But
Yep.
yeah, Tyrod, he's
Definitely.
a very respected veteran there. And at the receiver position, Brandon Cooks, I know a little something about Brandon Cooks when he was with the Patriots. When we lost
Mm-hmm.
to the Eagles, we really could have used him, but he got hurt with that concussion.
Yeah, I remember
So
that.
that was tough right there. And you guys take a lot of former Patriot players as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
I know last year was a disappointment. I don't know how Deshaun Watson throw for those yards and touchdowns, and it doesn't translate to wins. I don't know how
Yeah.
that happens, but the Texans can certainly surprise some teams.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, definitely agree with you. But I mean, when your defense is 29th in the National Football League, how can you win games, even though if your quarterback has that type of a season? If your defense
Right.
is 29th and not stopping no run game, you're not stopping the pass, how can you win football games like that? If your offense scoring 24 points per game, they're competing every play and your defense just not stopping anybody. I mean, it's hard to win for national football games like that if your defense is 29 and can't stop anybody. And we got a lot of questions right here. So we're gonna start with my boy right here. We got a question for you. We got a lot of questions for you.
Nice, nice. What do I think about the Chargers O line because they couldn't protect Chase Daniel or Easton Stick? Well, when it comes to the Chargers offensive line, I love the addition that they did when they brought in that center from the Green Bay Packers. He was the starting center down there in Green Bay. That addition right there, absolutely loved it. And then what they did in the draft, bringing in Slater. That was great as well. So I love the Chargers offensive line. The Chargers are a team that I'm really high on this upcoming season. I think that they're definitely going to be a playoff team. And so I would go on record and say that that team is a playoff team, barring any key injuries. That team will be in the playoffs. And that offensive line is going to help Justin Herbert be able to take that next step, I feel. So pretty high on the Chargers right now.
All right, go to this. What you think about that?
Let's see, I got the Titans and Jaguars making it to the playoffs, but the Jaguars need to do something about their O-line or else Trevor is going to end up like Russell Wilson. Yeah, the offensive lines for these rookie quarterbacks just around the league in general, like you really want to make sure that you secure that offensive line. And now that they're not going to have Gardner Minshew there behind them, they got to keep him healthy because, I mean, if he goes down, there goes their entire season. And as for the Titans, oh yeah, Titans will be in the playoffs. You best believe that. They're going to be in the playoffs and they're going to have a home game too. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Definitely. So we got him. Texans going 0-17. No way to get him 4 wins.
0 and 17. 0 and 17 is a bit harsh. Like I can recall some 0 and 17 teams. And so Houston's definitely got more talent than an 0 and 17 team for sure. But I can definitely see if it does fall short, like short
Yeah,
of 4 wins or something like that. I
yeah.
can certainly see that.
I
But
definitely
0 and
see it.
17, I think Coach Donte will find a way to get on the sideline before he let that happen.
Oh
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
see him
yeah,
there
yeah,
coaching about
yeah.
week 15, week 16.
Like I say, yeah, and like I say again, man. Like I say, it wouldn't be surprised me if we get 2 wins. I mean, like I say again, but 0-17. I mean, that's your opinion. We love when people say 0-17. We the worst football team in the league. We love that. I mean, if the Texans don't go 0-17, just come back to this channel and you tell me you explain why you explain yourself. Just come back to this channel. If the Texans don't go 0-17, I want to see you again. But like I said, it wouldn't shock me if I be bad, if the Texans be bad, man. Like I said again, hey, I can accept it. I can accept it. You said what y'all got the Saints? I let my boy Sports Fanatic answer that question.
Yes, about them Saints, first of all, like I was telling someone the other day, I was like, when you play the Saints at a night game in New Orleans, it's like an environment like no other, like I've seen some good teams get embarrassed down there in New Orleans in that type of play. And what they showed me last year when Drew Brees went down, when Taysom came in, that offense was still able to do enough for the defense to still win games. So they're still going to be a competitive team. I say 9 or 10 wins is what we're looking at this upcoming season for the Saints. Now, if that's enough, I don't know if that's enough to qualify for the playoffs this year, but it's certainly going to keep them in that conversation.
Yeah, but like I said again, I don't like Jameis Winston as a starting quarterback. I already expressed my feels about that. Losing Michael Thomas, losing their number one receiver, pretty much. Question makes a question like who's gonna get the ball down the stretch? Who's he got to throw to down the stretch? Losing the bus load of that defense, which is the defense still is okay. They're gonna be able to compete. You still got one of the best running backs in the game. You got a great head coach, but now losing Michael Thomas, I mean, hey, I had him in the wild card spot, so now it's like I had to take him out because, like I say, losing Michael Thomas. I mean, I just don't know who's Jameis Winston's gonna find, who's gonna get a ball to. Like if Taysom Hill was a start, then I probably have it probably switched me to the Saints making the playoffs because of his playmaking ability. His ability to move out of the pocket, keep plays alive, and stuff like that. That's the kind of quarterback for me. It's kind of like a playing style in basketball. I gotta do everything. I gotta be able to do everything. Shoot, drive, dunk. I gotta do everything. Taysom Hill kind of reminds me of doing everything. You make the defense is more tough to kind of stop you when you can move up out of that pocket. That's what the NFL is turning into today, a mobile quarterback league right now. So like I say, if they had Taysom Hill as a starter, I feel more comfortable. But like I say, man, I already told everybody, I'm not too comfortable with Jameis Winston as a quarterback, man. Like I say again, you have the same weapons that Tom Brady had and just two pieces he just brought in, which was Grump and Antonio Brown. He had the same pieces, legit pieces. No excuses that Bruce Arians is, yes, you threw the ball a lot. But how is it an excuse for turning the football over so many times? You can't keep making those same turnovers, those same mistakes every single time. I mean, like I say, Bruce Arians, throwing heavy, throwing heavy offensive coordinator. When the running game is hot, he's gonna stick with the running game. I mean, you seen that Ronald Jones had a great year. Leonard Fournette came in. He chipped away as well. I mean, but like I say, man, I kind of, like I say, Jameis Winston kind of turned me off a little bit about the Saints and not having. If they had Michael Thomas, then I would say I would give them a competitive shot. If they had Michael Thomas, still, and still if they had Michael Thomas, but losing him for the first 5 weeks is definitely going to hurt. You're still going to have a competitive defense, but like I say, I just don't like. I'm just not a fan of Jameis Winston as well. So you got another question coming up right here. You have another question.
Let's see. What do you think about the Panthers and the Broncos? Do you think they'll make it to the playoffs this year? Those are two teams that I'm really like very interested in seeing how they're going to do. I'll start with the Panthers. In terms of the Panthers, will they make the playoffs this year? I don't think they will make the playoffs this year, but I do think it's possible that they can end up with a winning record this year. I feel Sam Darnold way better situation. As we mentioned earlier, no longer handing the ball off to old man Frank Gore in the backfield is your best option. But instead, if Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy, I love that for him. I feel he can be a top 20-ish quarterback with the weapons that he have around him, especially with the improved play. Now the offensive line is going to still protect for him. And then you've got the Panthers, in their defense. And so, yeah, overall, I think Carolina can definitely compete for that second spot in the division. But in terms of making the playoffs, I'm not really going to go that far. There's a lot of tough teams in that NFC West, and they may end up taking a lot of those wild card spots over there. And as for the Broncos, they went with Teddy Bridgewater. That's the safe pick. I didn't think they were going to do it because a lot of times you see teams try to, make their first round pick work out to be like, oh, I drafted that guy. But they said, hey, Teddy's the guy. So I was very impressed with that. And I love their defense. They certainly have the talent to make the playoffs, but since, I think that there's only going to be two teams that make the playoffs out of that division. I've got obviously the Chiefs and I got the Chargers finishing ahead of the Broncos, but I think the Broncos are going to be a close third, so they can potentially get in there, but I think they'll fall just short of making the playoffs this year.
Okay, so we got an answer right there. Uh, Shout out to you, man. Watch all my 2K, watching my 2K a lot. My podcast is starting in 20 minutes. I mean, like I say, man, I appreciate you, man, for everybody that watch me, everybody that support me. Make sure y'all show some love and go sub to my boy, man, JB and M Sports Fanatic, man. He got all the news, all the breakdowns on his channel over there. We will collab again, man. No doubt
Oh,
about
yes.
that, man. No doubt about that. He knows basketball and football. He covers everything. Every time I look on YouTube and my notifications, he's always in there. He's always in there breaking down something, man. I love that, man. So, what you think about that move? What you think about that Taysom Hill?
Yeah, so I mean, me personally, I know how you feel about Taysom Hill, but I think I have the opposite. I was in favor of Jameis Winston because I
Okay.
saw when Taysom Hill was in, first of all, from a fantasy football standpoint, I saw how it hurt Alvin Kamara badly when Taysom Hill's in the game.
Yeah.
And so my man went from racking up so many points. I was like, we got to get him out of here. And then not only that, like not being able to stretch the field means you're going to face a lot of 8-man defenses, and that's going to make life tougher for obviously Alvin Kamara. That's going to hurt Michael Thomas when he does come back. So I feel like they'll be more limited because now we're at the point where there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks except they can throw.
Yeah.
Like you still got to watch Lamar Jackson throw the ball. So if you bring in a guy
Yep.
that's kind of shaky, throwing it deep, and he's just running, I feel like ultimately Jameis gives them that better chance to win. And to touch briefly on the whole BA situation with Bruce Arians down there in Tampa, I feel that you saw early on with Tom Brady, it was a struggle early on until Tom said, look, man, I've won Super Bowls before. Listen to me. We have to change a little bit of how you do this stuff on offense because this stuff is going to set me up for failure. So about after that midway point when they made those switches, that's when that offense took off until where Brady was excelling. So,
Yep. All right.
ooh. He's got his work cut out for him. I think it's going to take a minute, but hey, Micah Parsons and stuff, like what I've seen from Micah Parsons so far, I really like what I'm seeing so far from him. But I think that Dallas is gonna take more than a year, but I think he's certainly the man that's going to get it done. It's just going to take a little bit more than just this season to get it done, though. But I think the rebuild will be done. It just won't be quick down there in Dallas.
How you doing, Miss Breezy? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. What's Key? Co-host, what's good, Miss Key? Pix Production. Hey, I've been waiting on you to come to my stream, bro. What you said yesterday, I'm calling you out. That's blasphemous. Don't you ever disrespect the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The only way that team not gonna make the playoffs if they get injured, or if Tom Brady or
Oh,
someone gets injured. But to say 6-11 or 7-9 from yesterday, from what I heard, and yes, I rewatched your podcast. That was just unacceptable. That was, and then you said Tom Brady's gonna tear his ACL. That's like wishing hurt on a quarterback, man. Come on, man. Unacceptable. I don't know
oh
what you
man.
researching. I don't know what you be researching. I don't know what you be actually doing.
Should the Falcons retire? I think they should retire Julio jersey. They definitely should. I mean, Julio's meant so much for this team, and he's never been the kind of guy to just go out there and cause problems either. You know, he's always been up there suited up, whether it was a good year, bad year. You know, he's been out there with the team. It wasn't until recently he was like, all right, send me out. But for the most part, you know, he's been a stand-up guy in the community. So I think they should.
He said Tom Brady gonna go 15-2. Calling, hey man, like I said again, that's not a surprise if they do go 15-2. But like I said, I got them 14 wins, man. I got them at 14 wins right there. Their worst case scenario is 12 wins for me. Their worst case scenario is the 12 win mark. I don't like I say again. We earlier we put how many teams we think we count down how many teams that we thought that can compete with them. We don't know if they'll beat them, but it's not a lot of teams right now that's going to be able to beat these guys. They're good all around defensive line, linebackers. They got probably the best linebacking crew in the league. The corners are even solid. You've seen them cover. Man, they got the greatest, probably the greatest, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette. When they do get the football, they're pretty good. You got Mike Evans on that side, who's just a beast, who's 1,000 yard receiver every single year. You got Antonio Brown, Gronkowski who can make plays. I
Yeah,
mean, this offense has been goddamn, man.
yeah.
This
Chris
damn offense.
Godwin,
Chris
everyone.
Godwin. Oh my God, man. Man, like I say, we just don't know. We just don't know who's gonna. I mean, we just don't know. What's good, my boy? How you doing? Uh, go ahead. They got another question.
Trey Lance, Trey Lance. I feel Trey Lance, obviously, he's going to be the future down there in San Francisco. It's just a matter of how many games are the 49ers going to play Jimmy Garoppolo before Trey Lance gets in. Personally, if I was making that decision, I would want to drive up the price of Jimmy Garoppolo right now for when you trade him next year. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely, if Jimmy's out there, and especially if he's not hurting the team and he's looking good, you're going to ride with Jimmy to rise up that trade value. However, I don't know when the 49ers actually bye week is, but I think after that bye week would be the perfect time, especially if it's an opponent that you know you've got a good chance to beat, to implement Trey Lance, because there's some special things that he can do. He's got special written all over him. He probably just needs a little bit more time of just watch right now, but when his numbers call, he's going to be ready. So I like Trey
Mm-hmm.
Lance a lot. He's definitely going to be a special player.
Okay, okay. What's good? What's good, my boy? My boy said Chris Godwin finally found some. All right, so we went to the AFC South, so we're gonna switch to the AFC East, which is the division your Patriots in. So we know we got the New York Jets. They just lost Carl Lawson to an ACL injury. They got rid of the worst coach in football. Sam Darnold's also traded away, but they get their franchise quarterback in Zach Wilson. So we're gonna all they then you got the Miami Dolphins, you got the New England Patriots. I think they were the third best team in the division last year. They should have made the playoffs. They should have been a 10-win team actually last year. A lot of close losses, but they do get two good tight ends who's very good. You still got Bill Belichick over there. You still got Cam Newton over there. Your receiving core, you don't know if N'Keal Harry's gonna be there. But like I say again, you got Miami, who can be either a wild card team or who can either have a down season for what they had last year. You got an up and coming great head coach who I'm really high on, Ryan Flores. And also, you got the juggernaut up there in the Buffalo Bills, who's
Yeah.
elite defensive team, elite offensively with Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley. You have a great defense over there. Carlos Hyde, Tre'Davious White, great secondary, great defensive line. How do you value this division? How do you evaluate this division?
Yeah, when looking at this division from head to toe, I think there's definitely going to be two playoff teams that come out of the AFC East. Obviously, Buffalo is going to be that number one spot. I mean, Josh Allen, what he can do and the growth that he's shown in this league, he's definitely earned that contract that he got. Then they added Emmanuel Sanders to the mix as well, in addition to what they've already got at wide receivers, Stephon Diggs. That is one heck of a guy. When he got going last year, he was a fantasy nightmare. Believe me, a fantasy nightmare. Having to go against him. Obviously, for them, their questions rely on in the running game. Can Devil Singleton get more yards for them? Because they're going to need more from the running back. You don't want Josh Allen to have to run anymore, especially since he's going to have that target on them. Those big bodies, they take hard hits, and referees tend to let that slide for the most part. So that's obviously they're going to want to add a running game to that, a stronger running game, I should say, between him and Zach Moss. Then at the defensive side, they want to generate a lot of pressure. I know they spent a lot of assets early on in the draft to be able to get after the quarterback, and they know if they're going to compete against a team like the Chiefs, a team like Tampa, even Cleveland, they're going to have to be able to generate some pressure. So Buffalo is going to be first. Second, I've got the Patriots, and it's not me being biased as a Patriots fan. It's when you look at it, last year, 8 opt-outs, new quarterback, all of that crazy stuff. Cam catches COVID, and they still go 7-9, losing about 3 or 4 games. That was extremely close, and obviously everybody loses close games, but that goes to show they were in those games. And so then you add to the fact when you look at how Miami played against Buffalo and look at how the Patriots, even that Patriots team, played against Buffalo. A reminder, no tight ends, very limited wide receivers. That first time we played Buffalo, if Cam wouldn't have fumbled that ball, Patriots would have won that game. But you look at Miami when they played against Buffalo with Tua at quarterback, it was awful, man. Like it was a beatdown. Like my goodness. You talked about that Madden game that I had to quit, bro. This was worse than that, bro. Like it was turnover city, bro. Like so, that's why I've got the Patriots second. Damian Harris, he's got to stay healthy though. Like I know he's the kind of guy that he'll get his yards, but then he'll get nicked up in about the third quarter and have to sit out the rest of the game. We've got a lot of running backs, so if he does that, Patriots will be okay. But we need Damian Harris to really just take it to that next level and help give us some stability. As for the quarterback position, Cam Newton, he'll do good early on, and when he starts to struggle, we'll switch it over to Mac Jones. Mac Jones, he seems like he's ready for his opportunity, so he will be ready when his number is called. And and now we're talking about Miami. Tua, he's the X factor of this team. If Tua goes up there and lights it up, then have the Dolphins in that conversation for that second spot as well. But if Tua goes out there and he struggles, we know he's injury prone. The man has had so many injuries already at the college level. It's insane. So can he stay healthy? Can Miami offensive line protect? Because I have some serious doubts about their offensive line being able to protect. I don't know how much they're going to get from the running game. But they certainly got a lot of receivers. I mean, picking up Will Fuller, that was huge right there. And they've already got. So they've got a ton of receivers. So if he can get the ball out, he got some playmakers there. So, but I've got Miami finishing third. Anytime you have a team that overachieved as much as they did last season, I think it's going to level off a little bit this year. And then fourth is them Jets. And so the only bright spot I can point to is that my man, Zach Wilson, he looks very good right now. I know it's just preseason, but I'm seeing some good stuff from him. I think the Jets are at least doing a good job of putting him in position to succeed. As long as he doesn't get caught up in games where he's trying to force things to just, keep it close and stuff, just go out there and just play football, honestly. Because if the defense is bad and with all the injuries that they had, their season's pretty much a wrap. Then you just go out there and make sure that the offense look good. That's all he can worry about.
Yeah, definitely. Hold on, I have to go get my charger for the laptop right quick. Remove myself right quick. Hold on, got y'all. Hold on, let me go get my charger. I want to go out on.
Let's see.
Yep, back. You say you sub to the Spotlight Sports Network. All right, that's a bet. Hey man, his link is in the comment sections, man. Make sure y'all go sub up to him, man. Like I say, appreciate y'all so much, man. Like I say, we got football to get into. We got some basketball to get into as well. So we got a question right here.
Let's see. If Watson goes to Miami, would you trade for Tua? Hey, if Watson went to Miami, would I trade for Tua? I've got a lot of questions about Tua, but in that scenario, if I'm the Houston Texans, would I trade for Tua? Most certainly, most
Yep,
certainly,
definitely.
most certainly. You have to at that point,
Yeah,
just like the Rams did. Well, Detroit did when they gave away Matthew Stafford. You got to get a quarterback in return.
yep, definitely. I appreciate the sub to the Spotlight Sports Network. Make sure y'all sub up to my man's right here. Make sure to sub up to him, man. JB and M Sports Fanatic. He be putting on these streams. His man streams is incredible, man. It's just like NFL, real NFL. He makes those adjustments. Like I said, man, this man is fun to watch on, man. And also he drops videos every single day covering everything, football and basketball. So I'll say we going to the AFC North. So we do have this is pretty much a competitive division as well, if you want to say that, because you had three teams made the playoffs last year in this division as well. But you're gonna kind of start with Cleveland, who everybody got as a Super Bowl contender right now. You got the Baltimore Ravens. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers. And who else you actually got it in the AFC North? Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. So we're gonna start with Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. He tore his ACL last year. By the way, who was having a very good season, who was coming on strong. Tyler Boyd over there. You got Zach Taylor as the head coach over there. Then you go from Baltimore, who was the third best team in the division, because three teams did make the playoffs in that division. The great defense that they have, the great head coach. Uh, Lamar Jackson got to prove that he can beat people in the pocket when it matters the most. They got an awesome running game. The receiver spot kind of questionable a little bit. We waiting on Marquise Hollywood Brown to show up a little bit. He has not shown up yet. So you have Pittsburgh Steelers who got Big Ben. Everybody questioned they should have probably drafted the quarterback. Went on and drafted successor. You lose Bud Dupree to Tennessee. You lose him in the offseason. You lost Corey Davis to the New York Jets. So you lost a couple of you lost a couple of good guys right there. So and then again, you have the Cleveland Browns. You have the Cleveland Browns, who has the best running game who had best running game in the National Football League last year. Best running back duo, pretty much. You have Odell Beckham when he's still healthy. You have Jarvis Landry. You have David Njoku. You have Baker Mayfield. How do you evaluate this division, AFC North?
Yeah, and really quickly, I did put the channel thing in our chat, but I can't put
Okay.
it in the comment section,
Okay.
so you may
Yeah,
have
I
to do
got you.
that for me.
I got you.
But yeah, to talk about the Cleveland Browns, I mean, you touched on that running game that they have. I mean, that's an awesome running game. I mean, when you look at the combination of Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubbs, I mean, in fantasy football, if you've got either one of those guys, you're set. Like you're
Yeah.
set. And so, and then the offensive line, their run blocking abilities, that bodes well too. The confidence that Baker Mayfield plays with, I know he's not someone that's going to always go out there and light it up, but we saw in that game against the Baltimore Ravens how he stepped up to the plate in that one when he needs to. So if from that standpoint, Cleveland is just a very good team. I love the addition that they added when they picked up that safety that came over from the Rams. I forget his name, but it had John in it. And so he was definitely a key pickup for Cleveland. So, and then you add not only that, Jadeveon Clowney as well to go on the other side of Myles Garrett. I mean, I've got Cleveland as the front runner, and man, how the NFL has changed. Just a couple of years ago, they were the joke of the league, and now they are one of the top teams. And so,
Yeah.
but that second spot though is very interesting.
Yeah.
Like I keep finding myself, because we always know Pittsburgh's always in the playoff. Mike Tomlin finds a way to get this team in the playoffs, and they have a lot of weapons. They did lead the league in drops last year. That did hurt, but they also started off 11-0 before I think the Washington football team ended that for them on a weird, like Wednesday night game or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but they started off 11-0. They certainly, have the talent. And you add Najee Harris and what he brings to the table in that
Mm-hmm.
backfield. That's an upgrade. So I've got to early on. I would have said Baltimore, but them losing J.K. Dobbins for I'm guessing the entire season is looking like that's a
Mhm.
major blow because we know Baltimore wants to run the ball. They love being able to run the ball. So now it's just going to come down to Gus and then whoever fills out that backup role. If J.K.'s done for the year. You mentioned the wide receiver questions that they have. I do like the addition of Sammy Watkins, though, for the playoffs. I feel like if they're in the playoffs, we know how Sammy does better in the playoffs, so that could bode well for them. And for Lamar, it all comes down to the playoffs. I mean, we
Mhm.
know he's going to have a great season. He's going to find a way to get them in the playoffs. I don't care if it's that last playoff spot. He's
Yeah.
going to find a way to get in there. So that whole second spot for the Ravens and the Steelers, right now I'm about 50-50 on both of those.
Okay.
Like it's just going to be something I got to find out in the regular season, see who's playing better. But Big Ben's going to be the question for the Steelers. And then Cincinnati. Joe Burrow. For me, I just want to see Joe Burrow go out there and show why he was the first pick of the draft. That's all he's got to do. Go out there, have a great season, and just be competitive. They can be competitive this year, but they will not make the playoffs.
Okay. Okay. All right. So I like I say, I like that. I like that. I like that pretty much. Like I said, man. Like I said, I think I had Cleveland winning this division. I got Baltimore as one of the wild card teams. But we at the last division, AFC West. We're gonna put the Chiefs to the. We're gonna kind of put the Chiefs. If you want, we want. If you want to talk about the Chiefs, like I said again, this is how we're gonna start out talking about the Kansas City Chiefs with the dynamic offense, high power offense. We all gonna agree the offense is gonna be a little bit too much. A little bit the offense a little bit too much for everybody. Their defense is not as good as everybody makes it seems. They were 22nd in the league in defense, but then again, when you stop somebody when it matters the most, and when you're getting a couple of stops a game, that's enough for Patrick Mahomes in this offense to capitalize and beat you. So they gotta go. They do play competitively on defense. They do stop the running game at certain occasions, but you got a juggernaut of a quarterback and an offense, Tyreek Hill, who just got a thousand speed on Madden, probably pretty much. You got Travis Kelsey, the best tight end in football. You got Nicole Harmon as well over there. But we're gonna. It's all about the second place, the battle for second place. That's why I feel like what it's down to the battle for second place. Or do you see a wild card team in this scenario? The Chargers, great young quarterback. They got a great receiver in Keenan Allen when healthy. The the Raiders, Derek Carr, a great quarterback. Josh Jacobs, a great running back. Then you also got some good receivers. You also got Hunter Winthrow, who's great in the slot. Henry Ruggs needs to turn it on a little bit. Darren Waller is just a beast at tight end.
Yeah.
The only thing you'll question is their defense. Is their defense and their secondary. That's the only thing you'll question about that. And then also you got the Denver Broncos who just named Teddy Bridgewater as starting quarterback. But he's also kind of remind me of a Tyrod Taylor. He's not as mobile as Tyrod Taylor, but he doesn't push the ball down the field a lot. He doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He doesn't make mental mistakes a lot. He's a great game manager. That's what you want to call him. He's a great game manager. You got some decent receivers over there at Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton. You added Patrick Surtain, your cornerback in a draft. And also you got Jared Judy over there. And also you got Noah Font, who's a good wide receiver too. Evaluate this AFC West division.
Yeah, so as we know at the top, it's the Chiefs. It's their division, barring any injuries. It's going to be them. I mean, you touched on every key point there. Tyreek Hill, I mean, he's so fast. It's really unfair, like really unfair, really unfair. Like I hate when somebody picks the Chiefs online on Madden. It's just it's a headache. Then you add Travis Kelsey as well. I mean, come on, it's really not fair. And then I mean, they've got some other speedsters as well
Yep,
at wide
yep,
receiver
yep.
as well. And so this team is just all about speed. Now, obviously, at the running back position, they're gonna want for Clyde I can't say his name right now, but
Clyde Clyde Edwards Elaire.
yeah, there
That
you go,
yeah,
Edwards Helaire. They're
yeah.
gonna want for him to step up tremendously because that's why they took him in that first because he's gonna have an important role for them in terms of running out that clock and helping that 22nd ranked defense from last year. I know they did lose a key defensive player. I believe he got like arrested. I forget which defensive lineman it was, but it was one of their like primary pass rushers from last year. So that's going to hurt. But hey, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, anytime your offense is that explosive, I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to win. Like you're going to win. The defense doesn't
Yeah.
have to do too much, just
Yeah.
bend
Yeah.
but don't break. That's all you got to do. So
Yep.
they're going to be all right with that. Then we talk about the team I've got second. I've got the Chargers second right now. They're when it comes to why they're second for me. Obviously, we know at the quarterback position they've got a rising star in Justin Herbert. I think he does take that second leap, and a lot of that's going to be to the additions they made on the offensive line to help him improve. And then you mentioned that wide receiver Keenan Allen. I love when Keenan Allen gets going. He's a great wide receiver. He's someone that's
Yeah.
not to get too early in fantasy football, but he still gets you those points. Then there's Mike Williams. He's going to be playing for that contract at the end of the year. So they've got the weapons. And if their running backs can stay healthy this year, that offense is definitely going to be a top 12 offense this upcoming season. And then you look on the defensive side of the ball. I love what they did throughout the draft, especially when they picked up Asante Samuels Jr. That was a great
Mm-hmm.
draft right there. He was one of my top 3 cornerbacks in this draft. And then what they've already gotten the defense, and I mean, just all around, they're a very balanced team. And they're definitely a playoff team in my mind.
Okay.
And then that third place, though, like I keep switching my mind. I'm like, 1 second I'm saying it's the Raiders, the next second I'm saying it's the Broncos. I mean, because they have opposite problems. I mean, with the Raiders, you know that Derek Carr is your quarterback. You know that. And I love Josh Jacobs. And then they added
Yeah.
Kendrick Jakes, I'm sorry, I can't speak right now.
Kenyon
Kenyon
Drake.
Drake as
Yeah. Yeah.
well in the backfield. And so my only question for the Raiders on offense is those wide receivers taking that next leap. Henry Ruggs
Yep.
is the third. If he can really get it going, that's an
Mm-hmm.
extra element right there. Now, we saw them last year beat the Kansas City Chiefs. So I feel like they can play up to that
Mm-hmm.
level. But when they needed to beat a team like, say, the Dolphins, they were not able to finish that game.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's moments like that make you hesitant about that team. Then you mentioned the defensive backfield. My
Yeah.
goodness. My goodness. I feel like I can go back there and play secondary for that team.
Yeah.
Like, like
Yeah.
John Gruden put me back there in that secondary, no lie. And then we talk about the Broncos and their situation. Teddy Bridgewater, he's safe, and so that's what they
Mm-hmm.
need because Drew Lock was turning the ball over left and right last year, led the league, and so you add someone like Teddy Bridgewater to that, and if their running backs can stay healthy, I mean, I feel like their defense is already good. So obviously it's not 2015 great or anything like that, but they're still a good defense. So with Teddy out there, they're going to be competitive. They're going to be a team that if I'm looking at this division, I'm like, I don't want to play the Broncos because they're a team that that they can sneak up on you. You
Yep.
don't even see them coming, and then they can come and then they can really just beat you. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a matter of just how much can Teddy give them in the big games. Is it going to be enough for them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Like again, three. Well, we gonna go. Give me the last. We touched on pretty much the division winners. Wild card. 3 wild cards now. Give me your 3 wild cards in the NFC, in the AFC.
Ooh. All right. So in the AFC, I'm going to go Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Patriots. And I guess I'm going to go Ravens right now. So I'm going to
Okay.
go those 3 teams right now. In the NFC, this is going to be a tough one here. I'm going to go, barring that they stay healthy, I'm going to go 49ers. I'm going to go Seahawks, 2 teams out of that division.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the third one, I'm going to go, let's see. I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Okay. See, I got my NFC a little different. I know I had the Saints in a wild card, but due to losing Michael Thomas as well, I think for the first 5 weeks is that if I'm right or not, losing
Yeah, it's
him.
about 4 or 5 weeks.
Okay, losing him, that kind of that kind of turned me off a little bit. I kind of had them stuck in a wild card, but I'm gonna go with it's gonna shock you a little bit for the NFC in the NFC East is going to shock you a little bit just because of that quarterback situation. I know their defense is elite, their defensive line, but just because of that quarterback situation, I can also see this team not going to make the playoffs as well, just based on that. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna take the Eagles and the Giants in a wild card in the division scenario. I'm gonna go with the Minnesota Vikings in the second wild card. And I got the 49ers in the third. And in the
Okay.
AFC, I got Baltimore. I got Baltimore. It's in the AFC. I got Miami and I got I got Indianapolis. I got
Ooh,
Indianapolis. I still think they're gonna make the playoffs. Even though with that tough schedule, like I say, when you win, if you win most of those, if you can win at least two of those games out of those first 4 weeks, then they can be fine because their schedule is gonna soften up a little bit. They're gonna be fine. Plus, you play the Texans in Jacksonville twice, so that's six. That's probably 6 wins. But the Texans could shock you any given day out of the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Houston Texans. They can shock you any given day. So I haven't touched on before we go to the NBA, shift to the NBA. I haven't touched on Matt Jones. What you think about Matt Jones and how he's progressing? What you thought about the draft pick of your guys? Did you knew you guys were picking a quarterback in that scenario? But what you thought about it, man? What you think
yeah.
about Matt Jones?
Well, entering into that, I knew there was a chance that we would draft the quarterback. But if I know Bill Belichick, the moment that you pinpoint who he's going to draft, he's going to go in the opposite direction. Up until this year, he really just completely just spitballs and go wild with his selection. So you really just never know. Like, honestly, when he brought Cam Newton back so fast, I was like, okay, so he's okay with rocking with Cam Newton if he got to. He's not going to force that quarterback selection. So the draft was taking place, and we all knew the first couple quarterbacks. But I knew a couple key things had to happen. I said Atlanta cannot take a quarterback. If they take a quarterback, everybody's going to start rushing up to take one. So they went tight end. I was like, okay, that's great. And so then I knew when Denver was on the clock, I was like, oh, man, Denver. I was like, well, they did trade for Teddy Bridgewater, so maybe they won't take a quarterback. And they didn't do
Yeah,
it. So when that
yeah.
happened, I started smiling. But then I was hearing some stuff about the Washington football team trying to trade up and stuff. And I was like, if they're trading up for a quarterback, no, we can't have that happen. But then the Bears went up and
Yeah.
took Justin Fields. I wanted Justin Fields. Like this entire draft, I was smiling. I was like, you know what, we got to
Yeah.
get Justin Fields up in here. But then because me being an Ohio State Buckeye fan, I was like, oh man, this almost feels so surreal right here. I'm like, I'm gonna be able to actually scramble on Madden and stuff, and be able to throw. But man, the Bears came, intercepted. But I was happy for the Bears. I was like,
Yeah.
there's no reason why Jay Cutler should be the best quarterback they've ever had in that franchise,
Yeah.
statistically speaking. So they needed someone. So I was happy for them. And then I saw Mac Jones up there. Then all of a sudden, I was like, this is actually fit to happen. This is fit to happen. And then it happened. And I was
Yeah.
like, bet. He was like my second choice. I knew
Yeah.
being realistic, I knew if Justin Fields wasn't there, it probably was going to be Mac Jones at that point.
Hmm.
So I was happy. So, and
Yeah.
in terms of what I think of Mac Jones, I mean, from what I'm seeing, the kid, he's definitely got a great head on his shoulder. He's got great ball placement, which is very important, especially since we have shorter wide receivers. Being able to place the ball in spots where only they can get it, that's going to be huge. And so I see a lot of potential. And I think he's going to get better as time
Hmm.
goes on in terms of a stronger arm. You'll see he'll start to eat right, and then that body will stop looking like a dad's body to where it'll be looking like an athlete at the quarterback position. And so he'll develop nicely. So I like that. Josh McDaniels can do a lot of great things with him.
Yeah. Also, one more thing before we switch to the NBA. Do you see Matt Jones playing this season, or you think? Matter of fact, the only way he can actually will play this season if the team is bad. If Cam Newton is bad, you make the move. But do you see any type of that possibility of Matt Jones kind of playing this season?
I think there's certainly that possibility, but if there's one thing I know about how, because I was trying to think my hardest about when it came from switching from Drew Bledsoe to Tom Brady, obviously that happened because of an injury. Cam's style of running the ball, you have to think that there's probably going to be some scenario where he probably misses a game or two, whether it's because of that, whether it's because of, the whole COVID situation or whatever. But if he ends up missing a game due to that and Mac Jones can come in for a game or two, I think it's Mac Jones' job from there on out if he comes
Yeah.
in and starts a game or two. So I can see a scenario like that happening.
Okay. So, shift to the NBA. So, again, we go to the NBA draft. Give me your surprise pick that you didn't actually see someone getting picked in the top 3 or in the draft. Give me your top. Give me your surprise pick that you say, "Whoa, I didn't see this team getting that person." Give me a surprise that you didn't see coming.
When it comes to a surprise, because like this year's draft class, I'll admit, like I wasn't too much following them
Yeah.
ahead of the
Okay.
thing,
Okay.
and so when
All
it
right.
happened, I was more so, and like I watched it after it happened, so I was like,
Okay.
okay,
Okay.
okay, so yeah, I mean, with all the news that I was putting out, I was mostly focused on football
Oh
for
yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, then we gonna shift to like Give me a surprise team that you thought that you didn't think that were gonna make any noise. Like if you
Yeah.
got Atlanta, New York, give me a surprise NBA team that surprised you all year long.
Yeah, in terms of surprised me all year long in the NBA this past season, it was definitely Atlanta. I mean, me living in
Yeah.
Atlanta, and then the start that they got off to. I mean, I thought it was just another year that there was going to be a waste for them, but I mean, they brought it, made Nate the interim coach, and I mean, they just took off. I mean, Collins and company, they
Mm-hmm.
really took off, and then Trey Young, seeing them boys play in the playoffs, that was the surprise. I mean, you
Mm-hmm.
could say the Knicks as well, because my man Julius Randle. I mean, I was like, why couldn't you do that for my Lakers, yo? Like, why
Yeah.
couldn't you be that for us? You know, I mean, seeing him do what he's doing, Lonzo, what he did last year. I'm like, these guys, you know, like we put together the team, they were just too young. And you know, when Braun
Mm-hmm.
comes, he's gonna look at all the young guys and say, all right, you're tradable, you're tradable. Let's bring in a whole
Yeah.
bunch of veterans and stuff. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, so I'd have to say it was definitely those Hawks last year.
Yeah. So about the Lakers, you guys probably won the off season. I think you guys did won the off season. So I picked, like I say, the Lakers, the Knicks won the off season for me. I thought they made some great moves. Of course, Miami getting Kyle Lowry, the Bulls, getting DeMar DeRozan.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna speak on your Lakers. Do you think that Russell Westbrook and LeBron will kind of work out a little bit, or you kind of hesitate, or do you think it's gonna work? Do you think it's gonna work out? Actually, gonna work in your opinion?
I think it's going to work, but I think there's going to be some work that has to be done to make it work. I mean, Westbrook's got
Mm-hmm.
to come into this understanding that, you know, this is going to be a different scenario. This isn't like in the past. He doesn't have to be that guy that he's been throughout his career. I mean, even going back to OKC, I get it. You had, you know, another superstar in Kevin Durant, but he still wanted to shine. You've got nothing to prove now. You've got your
Yeah.
MVP. You know, we know what you can do solo. It's time to work as a team. You know, so he's
Yeah.
got to understand the situation and stuff. I mean, do I like the move? I like the move because honestly, I was looking in the playoffs. You know, Anthony Davis wasn't there, and so
Yeah.
I saw something that really bothered me towards the end of the game. You know, we passed the ball to LeBron. He kicked it back out. We passed it
Mm-hmm.
back to him. He kicked it back out. He wanted no part of shooting that ball. So at this point, I'm like, okay, he's in spectator mode right now. He really doesn't want to carry a team no more. And I get
Mm-hmm.
it. You know, there's a lot of miles that he's had to carry a team. So at this
Mm-hmm.
point, he's okay being a second, maybe even a third option. Like
Mm-hmm.
he just wants to take over in certain moments. But aside from that, I think that it could work. I mean, we brought in so many pieces to where this better work, or this is going to be the
Mm-hmm.
most embarrassing thing ever. Now,
Yeah.
I do remember, you know, towards Kobe Bryant's last couple years in LA, we brought in Dwight Howard, brought in Steve Nash into that season. I was all hyped and everything, thinking it's going to be another championship. Ain't no way we not going to win it. And then all of a sudden, Steve Nash hurt his back. I think he was carrying his bag off the plane. He just got
Yeah.
out for the season. I said, "How you get out for the season carrying a bag, bro?" Like, I'm like, man, that talk about being robbed. You know that
Man,
was terrible.
hey, that's how I felt about Dwight Howard. I campaigned for Dwight Howard. I said, come on, man. Let's get Dwight. I want Dwight Howard in Houston
Yeah, I
to
thought that was
help
gonna be magical, bro.
James Harden. I think he could be that second complementary piece for us to win a championship. Like I say, the first couple of years we were good. We lost that heartbreaker to Damian Lillard. Oh my God, man,
Uh,
oh my Jesus. That was a heartbreaker to Damian Lillard, but Dwight Howard performed well in that series. But then again, Dwight Howard wanted more post ups, and he's
yeah,
not a post up type player. He's a above the rim type player, and he didn't want to play second fiddle to James Harden, and he just completely gave up on this team. And James Harden was fighting his butt off. He completely gave up. That's why I don't like Dwight Howard to this day because, like I say, again, you were brought in to be second fiddle to James Harden to help James Harden take pressure off James Harden. You wasn't brought in to be the number one guy. And like I say, that's why I don't. That's why I was like, I'm kind of like you. Shit, I campaigned for Dwight Howard. I campaigned for the wrong goddamn guy. And like I say, they kind of backfired on the Rockets. So again, what? How do you feel about all around all season moves for the Lakers? Kendrick Nunn, you guys did add Kendrick
yes.
Nunn, who's a pretty decent player. I think he just went there because he wanted a championship early, and it's kind of his little bit of his career a little bit. like I said, when you have the number one player in basketball, all of basketball, people gonna want to go play with the number one player
Right.
in basketball. So, like I said, any organization LeBron goes to, he's gonna have players that's gonna definitely want to come with him. And so, how do you feel about the overall move, the all around moves? How do you feel about the coaching staff? How do you feel about all the move, the whole organization as a whole for the LA Lakers? And give me a breakdown on the disappointing season last year.
Yeah, well, we'll start with the good stuff first, talking about the new additions and stuff. I mean, I was absolutely thrilled, man. This felt like Christmas. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have those high expectations. I mean, I know Dennis Schroeder had turned down the money we offered him, so I knew he was going to be out the door. I mean, I'm glad he turned that money down. Otherwise, we would not have the magical offseason that we had. But then, I started checking my notifications. I'm like, okay, we're picking up a couple people. But then I was like, wait a second, like we're getting a lot of big time people. Like if you look at this team right now, like guys that we picked up, like Carmelo Anthony for the longest. I wanted Carmelo Anthony to be a Laker for so long, but we were finally able to make that happen this year. So we're gonna get him a chip. We're gonna get him a chip. He ain't going out like that. So we about to get him a chip. And then guys like Malik Monk and stuff like that. I mean, oh yeah, I was like, what? I was like, is this legal? Is this like I can't even do that on 2K, bro? Like for real. Like I'm like, and this is happening in real life. And then obviously we mentioned Dwight Howard, him coming back. He was a key piece of that. And I hear that there's some talks, with Rondo possibly coming back. That it seems like that's gonna happen. And I'm like, man, all around, starting with the trade from Westbrook and then just continuing to build all around. I mean, I'm usually someone that doesn't like superstar teams, but I'm like, hey, this is my team. I'm going to take it. This is the only way to win these days. So I will take it. And so it's going to be a real test, though, for our coaching staff to be able to divide who's going to get what playing time. So it's really going to be a big task for them, because if you mess this up, then that's going to be your job right there. That's your job if you mess this up.
I will tell you this right now. If you don't make this work with the LA Lakers, you need to be fired. After the offseason, you definitely need to be on the hot seat, because there ain't no way you get all these guys. Malik Monk, who's a great 3-point shooter. Kendrick Nunn, who's a great 3-point shooter, and you have another great 3-point shooter over there as well. I forgot his name. I forgot the other name, but he's Wayne Ellington. I think
Wayne Ellington. That's right.
Yes, he's a pure 3-point shooter as well. There ain't no way in the world you cannot make this work. Anthony Davis, Carmelo over there. Russell Westbrook, ain't no way if you somehow fail this season or lose anything above the first or second round, you need to be fired. You're just not the coach of the.
Don't get me started. A first round exit with this roster.
Boy, it's gonna be we're gonna have to get you a boarding pass real quick up out of LA. Out of LA to find a way that doesn't work. So last year, did you just put on injuries, or were the Phoenix Suns better, or how did you value it last year in the disappointment?
I'll say this, I know that it was definitely injuries that caused that. Anthony Davis, he tried to suit up for that game. They had no business letting Anthony Davis go out there in that condition.
Definitely.
But LA needed him that badly, because without AD, we really knew that Dennis Schroeder wasn't going to be that answer. And Bron, he was coming off an injury himself, so he was limited in what he can do. So injuries played a role. But I'll say this, though. We weren't the only team that saw injuries, I was very impressed with what I saw from the Clippers. And I can't stand the Clippers, but I was impressed with what I saw from them when Kawhi went down and everybody else stepped up. But then again, that team is built differently than what we were built last year. We were built on a two-man show, basically. And so we learned our lesson. We was like, all right, bet. We got to become a deeper team. And, man, did we make that happen this year.
So pretty much you touched on the Clippers as well. You gave me a hint on the next thing. The Dallas Mavericks. We know they had a disappointing season. Again, a lose to the same team. But this year, they definitely could have beat the Clippers. If you saw anything about that series, what did you learn from that series? What did you take away from that series? And what did you take away from Dallas?
I learned a lot. I felt like I learned more from the Clippers in that series than I did, from Dallas. I felt like Dallas, I knew who they were heading into that. But with the Clippers, I felt like in that particular moment, they played their best when their back's against the wall. Like they're the kind of boxer that once you hit them around a couple times, they about to zone in on you. And so
Yeah.
I saw that fight from the Clippers, and that's for Dallas. I mean, when you get up, you got to finish it, my guy. You got
Yeah.
to finish it. Like I
Yeah.
mean, Luca out here, gracing the cover of 2K and stuff, and you
Yeah.
got to finish, man. You got to finish. Find a way to finish. This is it.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got to be able to take it to that next level. So.
Hmm.
Now, the way that the team is constructed, I mean, especially given all the injuries that we saw
Hmm.
from all the teams around, that was their chance right there
Yeah.
to take
Yeah.
it all the way. Like Toronto capitalized on their chance a couple years ago. Now, injuries
Hmm.
did help them in the finals as well. But when you get that opportunity, you got to capitalize because
Yeah.
you don't
Yeah.
get
You
too many of
definitely.
those.
Yeah. Do you feel like Dallas can make it work with Porzingis, or do you
No,
feel like
no.
they just one more piece away?
I
You feel
mean,
like how do you feel about them? How do you feel
yeah.
about that situation?
I feel Porzingis is they need to. They're one piece away. Porzingis, he's not that. He's not the answer. He's
Okay,
not.
okay,
He's
okay,
not the answer.
okay, okay. Tim Hardaway Jr. You feel great about the
Love him.
signing? Love it. Okay. You
I
feel great
love
about
him.
the signing back? You feel great
Yeah,
about it? Okay.
I do.
Definitely, definitely. I so to me this is a heartbreaker to talk about this, man, but I feel so bad. Oh, I feel like that was the only year that I feel like it had to happen. Chris Paul. I feel like that was the all. This year was the only year he had to win the championship. This
Bruh,
feel like this was the year right here. Yup, 3-2.
bruh.
It is yup in the series 2-0. Two home games were
Yeah,
blowouts.
too.
You gave up game 5 on a turnover scenario. The same turnover scenario that you did it with the Clippers with OKC. We all know how that turned out. Then you get hurt in Houston in a bad situation at the bad time. Well, I think the Rockets were going to win that series and beat
Yeah.
Cleveland in the NBA Finals. Then game 6 comes apart. Another turnover comes apart in the toughest situation. Chris
Bruh.
Paul, I don't know if the basketball god's not on his side, but again, was this the last championship run for Chris Paul, or you still feel like the Phoenix Suns can duplicate the what they did last year?
No, no. That was their chance. That was his opportunity. It was one of those
Mhm.
Toronto like feels where
Yeah,
you're in the position, and if you don't win it this time, you're just not going to get it. I mean, because
yeah,
I mean, he opted to go back, and sign back with them. I thought his only hope would have been if he would have joined the Lakers. It would have been on a
yeah,
very cheap deal. So I don't blame him for
yeah,
going back. But
yeah.
I mean, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Like too many teams have gotten too good. You've got to like
Yep,
assuming everybody's able to
I
be
did say that.
healthy.
Hmm.
You've got the Lakers, of course. You've got the Brooklyn Nets on the other side. You still got them, and then even then, Milwaukee now they're still defending champs. So it's still in
Yep,
that matchup they showed that they can beat you best of 7. And then not only that, I mean, you look at some of the other teams that's there. I mean, there's no guarantee that a team like Phoenix can put out a team like Dallas or something like that. There's no
yep.
guarantee that can happen. So if everybody healthy and all like that next year, look out, y'all about to be bounced by round 2.
Yo, like
So
I say again, I just feel like this year was his only
it
year. Because
was.
if you look at the Western Conference,
Mm-hmm.
if the LA Lakers are not hurt, you probably see them in the finals. If Brooklyn not hurt, you probably see
Mm-hmm.
them in the finals. You got Utah, who's the number 1 team in the
Utah,
Western Conference. You got
Denver.
Dallas. You got Denver with a healthy Jamal Murray.
Yep.
You got Portland with Dame Lillard still over there. So
Mm,
who's to say if you're gonna make the finals and make it to the playoffs next year, which we
right.
probably bargain on that they may make the playoffs, but how far can you get? You got Kawhi Leonard is out for the Clippers, but they still show they can win they still show they can win without him. So I'll say, man, this year was the only year I felt Chris Paul. It
Mm-hmm.
needed to happen. When you was up 0-2,
It
when
had
they
to
was up
happen.
0-2, you figure out, I'm saying you're gonna be so happy for Chris Paul, man. This man really about to get it. But then
Yep.
you seen the game 5, the game 3, which is they got outplayed in game 3. But then again, you seen the game 4 when Chris Paul turned the basketball over at the last minute.
Woo.
And I
Bro,
mean,
that
oh
was,
my
bro.
goodness. And
I
then
couldn't believe it.
the same thing in game 5 happened at the last minute. Devin Booker turns the ball over. Him and Chris Paul turns the basketball over. Drew Holiday throws an alley oop, which result in a foul, would put the game out of hand, and then Giannis just takes over game 6 off.
Oh yeah,
He just takes over
Giannis took
complete.
it
Yeah,
to another level, bro.
yes,
Like
he just takes
another level,
over game 6, and thought man,
bro.
that was a disappointing factor in there. So like I say, got a couple more questions, man. I'm gonna let you get up out of here, man. So again, how do you feel about how do you we're gonna shift back to the football aspect on this part. So give me some a couple of teams that you see not that made the playoffs last year, but that probably won't go this year. That you give me some couple of teams.
Yeah, first team that come to mind is the Colts, and that's a lot to do with the
Mm-hmm.
injuries rather than just the talent. The talent is still there, but that's certainly one team. Another team I'll go with has to probably be the Chicago Bears because that offensive line is very suspect, bro. Like me and you can go on that offensive line right now and improve that blocking, bro. Like this is that's terrible right there. Let's see who else from last year's team made the playoffs. I mean, I really see really those two teams. I mean, you could say potentially maybe a Baltimore or maybe a Pittsburgh. Actually,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh's certainly a team that how they finished last year was awful. But I think that they'll do better. This season in terms of just not finishing how they did last year. But they're very suspect right now in terms of not making it. Miami, that's another one that
Okay.
I can throw out there. So there's a couple teams right there.
All right. So I'll say I think I did a video up on it early in the year. So Washington football is a team that I can consider that will drop out because of that quarterback situation. If they have someone like Deshaun Watson, they definitely go into the playoff. They definitely will be in the playoff mix. But again, having Taylor Heineke, when you got a question mark on him still, because even though he played great against Tampa Bay, he played awesome against Tampa Bay. But Ryan Fitzpatrick, I just question their quarterback situation. Definitely the Bears. Definitely the Bears. 1,000% agree with you on the
Yeah,
Bears. I wouldn't want to be behind that offensive line, but at the same time, the defense just carried them to the playoffs. The defense, and one point of the season, was definitely frustrated about the offense. They definitely had some conflict in the locker room about that, and had talks about the offense not stepping up their game. The defense was definitely the reason why they were definitely in the playoffs as 8-8, and then competed with New Orleans. The defense competed with New Orleans. New Orleans only, I believe, scored 21 points. 21 points in the game, and that's kind of like a shame on New Orleans side of the on New Orleans side dynamic with their offense. But that shows you how good really Chicago Bears defense really actually is. I mean Pittsburgh. I picked Pittsburgh as well. Just don't know. I think they need to draft a quarterback probably next year. Be on the verge of that.
yeah.
So again, Gardner Minshew. He was traded yesterday. How you feel about Gardner Minshew trade? How do you feel about that?
I feel like whenever you're talking about Minshew, if he's in conversation to be the starting quarterback, prepare for a long year. You're going to finish in the top 10. Like, I mean, no knock against him, but if he's really like being seriously considered as potentially the starting quarterback or considered an upgrade, or even in the case of Jalen Hurts, someone that's potentially an option, that means you're preparing for a long season. That's why
Mm,
they made that trade, because they don't believe in Jalen Hurts. And so if he goes out there, I mean, I get it. He's the kind of person that the fans could probably like. He's like a
mm,
poor man's version of. I'll just say Ryan Fitzpatrick. Really, like a poor man's
mm.
version of that. So, yeah, if you have him at quarterback, you're going to be at a disadvantage against some of the other teams.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that point. But like I say, Gardner Minshew also, if you can get this guy some pieces to work with, some respectable pieces, he's shown he can be a capable quarterback in this league. He can move about the pocket a little bit. So the Giants, the New York Giants, Saquon Barkley, do you think he can get back to that top five running back? And how do you feel about the New York Giants football team as a whole? How do you feel about the quarterback situation? Is it a make or break year for Daniel Jones? Do you see them moving on from Daniel Jones after this season and drafting a quarterback in this draft? If everything don't go right, what do you see out of that situation in the Giants football team as a whole?
Yeah, well, first of all, any Giants fan may want to cover their ears for this one. Yeah, as a Patriots fan, that's the team I despise the most, the
Yeah.
Giants. As far as Saquon Barkley goes, last year's fantasy draft at the second pick, I took Saquon Barkley. I thought he was going to help my team, and went out there, got hurt. And before that, he was already hurting my team. So, do I think he'll be a top 5 running back this season right here? No. I mean, it looks like he's going to take his time in terms of nursing his injury to come back. And even so, I mean, he's going to have to get back into it, honestly. And so he's got to show me that he's more than just a running back that busts a 60-yard gain and get a whole bunch of 2-yard carries in addition to that. So he's got to show me that he can still be what he was at Penn State at this point. So I don't think he'll be a top 5. Daniel Jones, this is certainly a make or break it type of year down there at the Giants. But the weapons that he got at his disposal, if they're going to make the playoffs or contend for the playoffs, it's going to be because of Daniel Jones. So it's going to be up to him. If they fall short, that means he fell short for them, because this is going to have to be his team if they're going to make it to the playoffs. And the Giants in general, like they made some moves, like in the secondary, but it's going to be a matter of, can these guys stay healthy? Can they stop fighting each other in practice? Can their quarterback not be on the bottom of them fight piles and stuff like that? But as for the Giants, I still think that they'll be contending for that third best case scenario, second spot in the division.
Okay. One more question before I get you out of here. We're gonna talk about the quarterback, the rookie quarterback, boom or bust ceiling. Which quarterback? If it's two of them out of this whole draft class? Give me the quarterbacks that's gonna have the ceiling of an elite quarterback, and if you got a couple of boom or busts in there, just give me your thoughts on those.
Okay, are we going just first round picks or like all throughout the entire draft
If you
class?
want to, if you want to do the whole entire draft class, you can give me that. It doesn't matter.
Okay,
However you want to
I'll
do it.
start. I'll start with Kellen Mons. It's screaming bust in my head right now, and I hate to say it because I mean I wanted the kid. I was so high on the kid before, but I think his situation right there in Minnesota is going to set him up for failure. When I saw him in the preseason, I think he was under the most pressure of any rookie quarterback that took a snap in preseason. Before he can even play action fake, the defense was already getting him before he could turn around. So I said, my man's not gonna be. He's not gonna be able to do nothing down there. So it's gonna be. By the time he gets out of there, it'll be too late for him to ever reach his ceiling. So he's gonna be done. Davis Mills, I think that Houston's gonna throw him in at some point to throw him into the fire, just to see what he's got, and he's not gonna be ready at that time. He's gonna need some years to develop, so that might ruin it for him early on. So that's another bust right there. Now, boom, I'll go Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, he's looking great out there, so I think that's going to carry on. And when I say great, he's going to, probably about 22 touchdowns, maybe about 11 or less interceptions, something like that. He's got to carry that team, but I think he's going to do okay given the situation, and he's only going to get better from there. So Zach Wilson, that's going to be good. Trevor Lawrence, I'm kind of on the fence about him. I think he'll be good, but not as great as everybody thinks he's going to be. So I think he'll be a good quarterback, just not elite out there. So, and then you talk about a guy like Mac Jones. I think that's going to be a boom. Justin Fields is going to be another boom. Trey Lance, another boom right there. I think those two are going to knock it out the park. Add Zach Wilson. So those are the 4 that I've got booming right there. Everybody else, well, it was nice to be considered in the class. So,
All right. Wide receiver, Mark. If you want to put Kyle Pitts in now, or if you want to go tight ends, you could. But if you want to throw Kyle Pitts in now, who he could play wide receiver as well. He's versatile. He just can't play tight end. He can play. But if you want to throw him in now, you could. Boom or bust wide receivers.
yeah, so when it comes to some of the wide receivers, I obviously Kyle Pitts, if we can include him, this guy's a major boom, like 2 booms on that one, double boom on that one. It's going to work out. It's already worked out pretty much. And then you talk about a guy like Devin Smith. I want so badly for him to succeed down there, but I think he's going to have to wait till he gets another quarterback. I don't think him and Jalen Hurts will be able to create that magic that we saw, and I think it's going to take a while. You see the other Bama wide receivers that were drafted in the past. It's taken them a while to get going. The same's going to be for Devin Smith because he's always injured. So it's going to take a while, but at some point it's going to be a boom for someone, but it's not going to come instantly. Jalen Waddle, that's going to be a boom. That's an instant boom. Like we booming with him. So I will say that there. Let's see. Tooney, I think he's got boom potential, but with the Giants, I don't think it's going to happen with the Giants. There's too many wide receivers there, so it's going to be a struggle to get a bunch of targets and stuff. So right now, I'm not going to say bust, but it's not going to be a boom either. It's going to be an in between
Okay.
until he finds a different scenario.
All right. So, out of Sertan, J.C. Horn, or any cornerbacks that you know that got drafted, boom or bust out of cornerbacks.
Oh yeah, Sertan, that is a boom right there. That's a boom. Now that cornerback the Titans took, Farley, I think his name is, that's a
Mm-hmm.
bust. That's a bust. That's a bust. Asante Samuel Jr., that's a boom. That's a boom.
Okay.
The kid, I forget the kid that Dallas took out of Kentucky, I think. I think that one's going to be a boom, but not like a superstar type boom, just an average cornerback type of
Mm-hmm.
boom out there. So let's see, is there any other rookie corners that I can think of?
J.C. Horn. How about
I
J.C. Horn?
almost forgot about J.C. Horns. Yeah, that's going to be a boom as well. I love the
Okay.
confidence he plays with, and so he'll be an above average cornerback. But
Okay.
your superstars, though, that's going to
Yeah.
be your Patrick Surtain. That's going to be
Uh.
your Asante Samuels, because
Okay.
the parents did it. They're going to do it. They're in great
Yeah.
scenarios, both of them. So they're going to be your two best right there.
Okay. Michael Parsons.
Love him. Love him. Dallas made the
Okay.
right move. I love the intensity he plays with. Now, sometimes he might overrun the play or something like that, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that he's the best pick that Dallas has made recently. Stop working on the offense, start working on the defense, and they did that this year. They needed to do that.
Okay. Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase.
Ooh, I love Jamar Chase. How could I forget about the great Jamar Chase, bro? Like, how could I forget about that? But yeah,
uh,
I love the whole connecting, and I love how they paired, receivers who played with their quarterback in college and stuff like that, paired them together.
mhm.
So I love this for him. It's going to work out down there in Cincinnati. Bengals may not be competing for the playoffs no time soon, but that offense is about to become playable on Madden. You best believe that.
All right, man. I appreciate you for having you on the show, man.
Thanks for
Shout out
having
to
me.
everybody that came to the show, man. Big shout out to you, man. We will be collabing at some point again, definitely, man.
Oh yeah.
So tell the people where they can follow you at again, man.
Oh yeah, on Twitter, that's at JoshBro34, and the same for Instagram as well, at JoshBro34. So
All right, man. I really appreciate you for being on the show, man. Make sure y'all comment, like on the stream, man. We out, man. Shout out to you, man. We out.
oh, yeah, appreciate you.
Yes, sir.